UK Crime Book Club. What a lovely way to spend a Friday night. I've got one of my favourite people who, thank you for moving I know we were supposed to be here last night, so sorry to anyone who we've messed about. But my daughter's school decided they were going to have parents' evenings in school rather than online, which we didn't find out until we were booking the actual slots. So that was really fun. I'll stop whinging now and get on with it. So, Sam Holland, we'll talk about your other writing name shortly.
Yeah.
Tell us a little about the 20 and show off that. I love the cover.
Oh gosh, we went through many iterations of the cover, but anyway, so this is the 20 that we're going to be talking about tonight. So a brief synopsis about the 20. So the 20 begins as a DCI who's called Adam Bishop is called out to a waste ground where a body has been discovered, and he not only realizes that there's another 4, so 5 in total, but there are spray painted numbers above the bodies and the killer is counting down. So the investigation begins, and he's approached by a woman who happens to be his ex-wife, who is convinced that these new murders are connected to a case from 20 years ago where the killer is now in prison, but where she is intimately connected to this case. So it's about the intersection of these two cases and a lot more besides, but is, yes, a lot of fun. So
a lot of fun. In a few minutes, once everyone's joined us, I will talk about the impact this book has had on me, my sleep. Hi, Laura. I know I'm such a wuss.
Traumatized you.
I'm absolutely. You look so sweet and innocent. Said, didn't I? You look like little bluebirds would land on you, and then you write that.
Yeah. It's a sewer in here, absolute sewer.
So, publication day was
last Thursday. I think we're a week. Yeah, I think we're a week out of. Yeah, last.
And you
Thursday.
had fun on your launch night.
We had two publication days. So we had one a week before the book was actually out. So myself and Heather Critchlow, who I know you had on last week. This time, yes, that's the one. So we had the same publication days. We had a joint launch, which was a lot of fun because, quite honestly, I wouldn't have done it if she hadn't persuaded me into it. So that was in Waterstones in Trafalgar Square, and lots of drinking, lots of people taking over Waterstones basically. And then the reason why we had it at a week early is because this Thursday we were both at Crime Fest, so we had another celebration Thursday night when it came out. So so we did it twice.
And Heather's book is called Unspoken.
Yes, sorry, I should have said that.
No, it's fine. It's just that it was called Unsolved originally, and that's what I've got. And I keep getting confused about which one's which. And it's a brilliant book. I know you enjoyed it as well. Yeah. So I'm lucky. All I've talked about lately is great books.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's all I ever talk about, great books. Laura said, "Oh, is this a dark one? Me like her." And hello, Leslie. Yes, I would say I had nightmares. My husband said I was actually thrashing about in my sleep.
Oh no!
I have like a fitted sheet on the bed, and I'm very still. Even if I turn over, it's a very controlled turnover. But no, the fitted sheet had come off the corners of the mattress.
Oh, no.
So I must have been really thrashing. And I don't remember any of the nightmares. I do remember waking up in a sweat, but I don't actually remember the dream. So
sorry.
It's really good. Is it dark enough for you, Leslie? I think there will be moments that are dark, and it's really paced. It's really fast paced, isn't it? I mean, it's 450-ish pages.
It is a lot of words. So it's 104,000 words, which is the same as Echo Man, actually, which is the first one.
Yeah.
What is it? I haven't got it here. Wait a minute. Oh no, that's the US version. That's no good. Anyway, wait a minute. It's there. You can just see. Oh, I can't do this.
I can see the spine of it.
So it's behind me. It's just the same length as the Echo Man. They're quite complicated books. So I with both of them, there's quite a lot going on, and it obviously all needs to resolve. And both have ended up about 104,000 words. So it is quite long, but it does lick along quite nicely. There's lots of people who need to be killed. So
a fair few, yeah.
I've got to kill 20
you are not
people.
holding
Judging themselves as worse than 20 people.
I do think because of the pace of it, it didn't take me as long as I expected. What I generally do when I get a book, I'll have a look at just how many pages it is, just to kind of gauge how long I think it'll take me. So I can put it into the plan for reading and making sure I've done everything on time. And no, it took me a lot less time than I assumed it would. Mainly because I couldn't put it down, so there weren't any breaks from it, so that helped. But yeah, it really does you fly through it.
I find that with books, if I'm really enjoying a book, no matter how long it is, I'll fly through it in a couple of days. But like, if I don't like a book, I'll be reading it for like weeks. Oh, you went flicky there.
Oh, I told you my camera was going to go funny. Right, I'm going to unplug it and go to my one that I don't like. There we go. I always think I look a funny colour on this one, but on the actual recordings, it's not as bad. But why has it started now? That's so frustrating.
Because you jinxed it.
I did jinx it. It was jumping about. So I might try it again, but we'll see. Hello, Karen. Karen is another one of the author chat team. Poor woman has been indoctrinated. There is no escape now. Right, cross your fingers and hope the camera stays. Somebody has written, Echo Man is still cracking me up as I can't find any evidence. This is Leslie. She can't find any evidence of having read it, but she thought she had. And she spent ages looking through all the notes to check. So now you just have to read it again.
You need to read it again, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She was like absolutely sure that she'd read it and reviewed it, and she can't find any evidence of having done so. Which is just
I think she should do it again, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
hello, Donna Moffat, who's joined us. So yeah, Donna, we've just been saying that this book, The 20, is giving me nightmares, and that was thrashing about and knocked all the bed sheets off. So so I didn't feel like I had unrefreshed this morning, I was fine.
Yeah, a good bit of horror gets us through the day.
Definitely got the adrenaline going. I should have asked you to do a reading from it. Oh my word. Oh yeah.
I just read the prologue. I have done a reading and I just read the prologue. Because there are scenes in it that's just like, I think I might be doing noir in the bar when I go to Harrogate. So I might pick like the worst possible scene and then read it in the bar. But I'll see. Now you're not working, you're flashing. But...
Am I? It's not what we need. I don't need me flashing. Where do we even start? So you've got a really nice team with this one. They're all, so you've got Bishop, you've got Hoxley, you've got a new woman called Ellie who's with them. I don't know why the men got surnames and Ellie got Ellie instead of Quinn. I don't know why. Anyway, so
it's definitely called Ellie. Yeah.
Adam, Jamie, and Ellie.
Yeah.
There's so many lovely people in this book. There's obviously some very not nice people in this book, but let's go with the team first, because they've really got each other's backs and they're really a close-knit team, and they've got a lot of respect for each other, and there's a really, really great friendship between Adam and Jamie. I mean, they are super close and bring out all kinds of goodness in each other.
Yeah, so Adam and Jamie have been, so Adam's the lead DCI. He's like a sort of up and coming, young, ambitious, good looking, everything you sort of hate, but he's a bit of an anti-hero. He kind of arrived fully formed as Adam, and he was always what he was, and he's got a few issues, but I love him, and he's got a good heart, and he's trying to solve the case, and doing a lot of probably not great things, making questionable decisions like any good detective in a novel. But Jamie's probably his opposite. So Jamie is his detective sergeant. He's just got married. He's a genuinely nice guy. He's empathetic. He's got a lovely wife. He wants to have kids. Jamie is like genuinely a lovely bloke. And yeah, the two of them, as I said, have known each other quite well, and they work together well. And I really enjoyed that sort of relationship between the two of them, and writing some of the conversations between those two, because they know each other so well, and sort of they're the opposite of each other, I think. But yeah, they like do a great job.
And they call each other out on stuff, which I really like, but in a nice way. They have really good banter. and they're not mean to each other. They know each other so well. They don't let each other get away with anything, and they've got really good comments on each other, which is really entertaining to read.
I mean, they're two men, so it's kind of bizarre to write a book with sort of two male, I mean, we haven't talked about Romilly yet, but two male leading characters, and then write that relationship. But I guess so I don't know if it's accurate to how men talk to each other or how they behave, but I just thought sort of this is how they should behave and how they should interact with each other. So in my head, it's fine. But then you've got Romilly as well, who's the lead female, so to speak.
You are the creator of the universe. You can make these people whoever you want.
I can make them do
and I think that's good. I think if we can all create our dream people, there's nothing wrong with that.
I was creating dream people. Oh, yeah.
Care to expand on that comment, Ms. Holland?
There is no point creating a lead detective who you don't fall in love with. I'm sorry. It is absolutely, Echo Man, you've got Griffin. If we go back to the Butler and West thing, you've got Robin Butler. There is no point creating a lead male detective who you don't fall in love with. I'm sorry. You have to do it.
I'm pretty sure that when I interviewed Heather, we were talking about you and book boyfriends.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that came up.
Yeah, I get properly obsessed with them as well. Like, I mean, I'm surrounded by them, essentially. They're all on the wall around me. I've changed them around. But this won't ever change around. That's the book I'm currently working on.
The famous wall.
So yeah, and they're all on that side as well. They're all surrounding me, all the nice, attractive men. Hard job.
I'm wondering how many other people surround themselves with images of, because you don't just have the men, do you? You have you've got ideas for everyone.
Yeah, all of them. Like the women are here as well. There's not so many photos of the women as there are of the men at all. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same principle, because I kind of want to know what they look like and what they're thinking and what they're doing and how they smile or whatever. So yeah, I use them as inspiration, really.
And Donna's saying she knew she liked you for a reason.
I have good taste in men. So Adam in the book is based on Richard Madden. So if you ever read the book and wonder who would play him, it would be Richard Madden. So I did a lot of research, hard graft research, watching everything Richard Madden has ever done on Netflix. It's just I suffer for my art, Sam.
Well, here's me Googling what Richard Madden. I recognise him. I can't place him.
He was in The Bodyguard.
Oh, The Bodyguard. Okay, yeah, I did see that.
Terrible Sicario thing on Prime at the moment.
Not seeing that. The thing is, so we get people coming on, and somebody will say to them, "Oh, who do you see playing this, and who do you see playing that?" And they'll say, and I just kind of sit here nodding, thinking I have no clue. So now I just think, right, I'll just Google. I'll just quickly have a look, because I have no clue. I can't put faces and names together.
So Richard Madden, and then Romilly is what's her actual name? Holiday Granger. So she's Robin in the strike things, and
not a clue.
Holiday Granger.
Absolutely, this is the most professional thing I've ever done, isn't it? Googling while I'm actually talking. No, not a clue. No. Sorry, Holiday Granger. No, I am
Robin in all the strike TV things. So
okay.
Yes, see, Donna agrees with me. Absolutely. Yes, and Game of Thrones.
I don't think we're supposed to be objectifying actors and actresses.
I'm not. I'm using them as inspiration.
They are your muse. Fair enough.
100%. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, talk to me about the dark characters, because if you lead with them, then I can comment on the ones that you talk about, and then I'm not giving any spoilers. I'm doing nothing.
Yeah, it's my fault. So we can't say much.
We really can't. I said to you before we went live, I was like, I started reading the book and I thought, brilliant. There's so much to talk about here. And the more we read, the more I was like, no, actually, I can't talk about that, and I can't talk about that, and no.
Yeah, so we can't talk about the main killer, obviously, because that will be a massive spoiler.
Yes.
I guess we can touch briefly on Elijah Cole. So he is
okay.
I can't really say too much about him, except he is a serial killer from 20 years ago who is currently in prison, and who Romilly suspects may be involved with the current crimes. So that's pretty much all I can say, actually, because anything else is sort of spoilers. But there's some wonderful scenes between both Romilly and Elijah, and also Adam and Elijah when he's in prison and they go and visit him and all of that sort of bit. So I really enjoyed sort of writing those. And he's a proper nasty and a proper evil. And as the book progresses, you find out more about him and why he is or did what he did. But he's a proper nasty.
Yeah, we get lots and lots. I want to be careful how I word it, because we do get lots of backstory on people, but it's not like you say people have got backstory and people go, oh, written loads of backstory, have we? But actually, you put us right in the action of the backstory.
And they're quite short.
Yeah, definitely. And the way it's done, you're really drawing us into that character, whichever character it is. You're drawing us into their world, and it really kind of is a good offshoot to learn why they are behaving how they are. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're going back again. It's very much, and it's not necessarily a dual timeline as such either. There are just
it's not enough of it to be dual timeline. I mean, there is. I don't really like the dual timelines, I must admit, because I quite like the forward motion that you get by just carrying on without it being broken up by kind of jumps back. But I did think it was sort of important to include a little bit. So they are quite short. I think none of them are more than like 2 or 3 pages. And they all come sort of like at a bit where there's a pause anyway. So there's sort of natural pauses. But yeah, I don't.
They had a lot of impact, don't they?
Yeah, I did write a dual timeline book once, and in the editing process, it got like the editor said, "Don't do this because you're stopping the action." So I always, believe it or not, I did actually listen to him, and that advice stuck with me. So I don't do much now that's dual timeline.
Leslie likes your color coordinated tidy bookshelf. She's definitely not looking at mine, which Mike Craven calls mine ratty. Yeah. It's a working bookshelf. It's constantly moving.
It's working. I mean, I must admit, I've just got a new bookshelf, which is over there, which means I could like tidy that one and make it so that these are all my books. They're basically all mine, which is why it's so tidy, because they're all ones I've written. So,
I have a plan. I have a tidy my office plan, but
there we go. They're all the 20s. Those are the ones on the shelf, and then the other side is Echo Man. But yeah.
Where has the 20 come out so far?
Definitely the US and the UK. It will come out in Holland.
I think that's the cover I've just seen. There's one that I've just seen the cover of.
Holland looks exactly the same, just it says "The Echo Man" instead of "The Echo Man." So the American one is, oh no, where is it?
I'm forever making you slide across 2 bookshelves. It's good job your chair's got wheels.
Where is it? Oh, it's there. There it is. Oh, that's what the American one looks like.
I do love the thing with the trees. I do prefer the UK cover, but I suppose that's the point, isn't it? That different audiences react in different ways.
Yeah, we had this even before America even saw the book, which was bizarre because they hadn't even read it, and they were like, "Well, here's your cover," and I was like, "Okay, don't you want to read it?" They've been fab. So yeah, it's definitely. I think it's going to come out. Obviously, it will come out in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, but I don't know when. Definitely Czech Republic and Dutch. Oh, German as well. It's coming out in German, which is my first German. So that's.
Have I seen the 20 German cover?
Unless you've seen something that I haven't seen. I haven't seen it. So
I will have made a note of something somewhere. However, as I said, my desk is not for member and author consumption.
I haven't seen the German one yet.
I will find my notes.
Unless it was the weird Russian Echo Man. Was that the one you saw? Is it?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I got my Russian copies of Echo Man through, and they're just insane.
I take it you can't show them yet.
They're behind me.
Do you want to show the Echo Man covers? No, you've said it's bonkers. I mean, I really want to see it.
It is bonkers. So this was Czech. No, it wasn't. Slovakia. That's Slovakia.
Okay. Ooh.
which is quite cool.
Really clever title as well, by the way.
This is the Russian.
Oh, okay.
It's got like a weird little insert, and then all the pages are like black. Wait a minute, I can't go. There we go. Aren't they weird?
Ooh,
quite cool.
That is really cool.
Weird Russians.
What? No, can't ask that. Moving swiftly on.
To say hello, so let's introduce Max while he's up.
Hello,
you want to say hello? Here's Max.
Hello.
This is my dog.
Won't look at me, but at least he's not barking at me.
He won't know. He barks at the postman and when anybody rings the door, but that's it. That's all you bark at, isn't it? But yes, he's a very good dog. Well, no, he's not a very good dog. He's a vaguely good dog sometimes. Go in your bed. Go on, bed. Good boy.
Oh, somebody asked if you can do a link to the reading. Was it? I
haven't done it yet.
Okay. So when you do you want to pop that into the group?
I'll try to. Yeah, if there's somebody films it.
Yeah. Well, we could always do it. You know the way we do this. You could read it on this. I could record you, but I won't be on camera.
We can do a reading at the end if anybody wants to do a reading, but we'll do one at the end.
Yeah, let's do one at the end, and then I don't know which bit you're going to choose. I don't think I can take it.
I normally just do the prologue because you don't want to sort of ruin it, do you? But yeah, we can do that at the end if we want to. We run out of time. But yeah.
There you go. I'm wondering if that was Leslie. I won't keep clicking about on my laptop because I've already broken the camera once messing about with stuff.
Yeah.
How many books have you got planned for this series?
That's a question. So 4 maybe. So this was 1 and 2. Okay, Echo Man the 20. I've just finished writing number 3.
You finished writing the third one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't hang around.
No, you really don't.
I say finished. It needs a lot of work. It's there, and it's going to be submitted probably next week to my editor, and then we'll see. But that's a return to Kara and Griffin. So you had Kara and Griffin in Echo Man. That this goes back to them, and also Jamie is in it as well. So it's a kind of merging of the worlds. So it's sort of written as a series, but it's not really. So if you look at, the 20 is very much a story by itself with whole different characters. There's only like a few cameos of Kara coming in from Echo Man. So they're not really, they don't have to be read as a series, but number 3 merges like the 2 worlds, if you see what I mean. So Kara, Griffin, Jamie, and then lots of fun. And then number 4, I don't know, I'm torn. So I have an idea for a standalone, but I have an idea for book 4 and how that finishes off a few open ends, shall we say. So what that is, I don't know. I need to talk to my editor and just decide what she wants me to do.
That's a good point, because when when you're under a publisher and they have certain expectations for things that they want, things that will fit the list in a certain way, how much does that influence what you're writing? Or do you just write it and then, or do you have to discuss your ideas and then they tell you which one they want you to write?
I mean, for number 3, we agreed the 20 when we signed the contract for Echo Man, and then we agreed the 20 straight after. Although the book I delivered was very different to the synopsis that I pitched. Although the plot was the same, it's 20, it's a killer counting down from 20, but apart from that, everything else changed. And they seemed happy, so that's fine. And then number 3, we sort of agreed, like, basically I write a sort of 1 to 2 page synopsis saying these are the main characters, this is sort of what happens, this is sort of the ending. Is that okay? And they sort of just say yes. So, and then I write it. But again, I think what is going to be delivered is slightly different to what I sort of promised. So number 3 is about a serial killer gaslighting people to kill themselves. So it's really dark. Well, okay. I don't think it's quite as dark, but then my agent was like, yeah, I think it is quite dark. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, because, like, for example, the Butler and West series are nothing like this, really. I mean, they have scary elements and they have bits that get your heart going and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Oh no, the opening of, I can picture the cover. What was the one I interviewed you about?
Oh, it wasn't the girl in the house seemed to be believed. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I can picture the cover. I love the cover. Yeah, that was quite a opening as well.
Yeah, but it's
That was
not
a
dark in
face
the
I
same
pulled.
way. Like there have been, so the Butler and West. I don't know what is it. It's a quinlogy. Anyway, there's 5 books. 4 of them are out. The last one comes out in July. So the last one of that series comes out in July. They are written under Louisa Scarr. So I've been on, I know before, talked to you and
I bumped into you at an event last year and you were on the panel as Sam Holland, and I kept looking at you because Kaz interviewed you first as Louisa Scarr, and I was looking at you and thinking, I don't know you as Sam Holland. What's going on? I was really confused. But I was overexcited. I was full of adrenaline. It was a bit bonkers that week. So but I just kind of walked over to you and said, I'm really sorry, I can't think of your name, but love your books. I was really confused. And you handled me very well, this mad woman in a field, having a chat with you.
Yes.
Oh, I loved the field.
It was a bit cold.
It wasn't cold. I don't know what's wrong with you all. I had a cardi on and not even a thick cardi.
You were running on adrenaline. It was cold. No, so the Butler and West series. So this one actually came first. So the Echo, how it all came about was the Echo Man. We went out on submission to publishers and said, "Here's the Echo Man. It's brilliant. Blah, 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 blah. Will you buy it, please?" And eventually, some publishers came back and said, "Yes, please," and got into a bit of a bidding war. Obviously, one of them was HarperCollins, who we went with, but the other one was Canelo. And although we went with HarperCollins, we said, because my agent basically is fed up with me always going, what am I writing next? What am I writing next? What am I writing next? Because I write so fast. So he was like, right. And said to Canelo, you can't have that one, but do you want a series, police procedural series, basically? Because I was sort of writing one at the time. And they said, yes, please. And we pitched a 5-book series, basically, which was about Robin Butler and Freya West and based in a police station in Southampton. And that's what I've been writing. So I've been sort of writing the 2 alongside. And Butler and West is a lot lighter and less, like I did write one scene, I remember in Blink of an Eye, and my editor said, you've gone a bit Sam Holland, you need to like put that down. And I was like, okay. So I like cut a whole load and said, is that okay? Okay, fine. So they're not easier to write, it's probably the wrong way to put it, but they're sort of less research heavy and less, I don't know, they're a bit more, I don't know, a bit lighter, so easy, so more fun to write. So yeah.
So I mean, they have the moments, but yeah, definitely lighter as well.
Yeah,
but that really does.
And there's a whole lot of romance as well, which some readers aren't so keen on. Bless them.
Then they don't have to read it, do they? The rest of us can.
So we're on NetGalley. We got a whole lot of people saying, I don't like the romance, and seem to be believed. So I was like, oh, you're really not going to like Out of the Ashes. Whoops. There's a lot more romance in that one.
It begs the question, are you going to write another series with Canelo?
Yes.
So can I ask about that, or do we just need to move on?
Well, the contract, it's nearly, so this is it. This mess on the board.
Ooh, okay.
Is so I can do a little pitch, but I got the contract today, so woo, it's definitely happening.
Fantastic.
It's based in the New Forest, so still around the south, but more sort of New Forest based, and it's about a police dog trainer. So it all revolves around her and her dog, but it's not a cozy. It's I have to emphasize that it's about so she's got like a bit of a past and has been demoted into the role of a police dog trainer, and then a whole lot of stuff happens, and it's about her quest to find out what happened to her missing husband who disappeared 3 years ago. So yeah, it's fun. I really like it. Well, I like it at the moment. It's not finished yet. I might not like it by the time I finish it, but there's 3 books of those, and I think they start next year. So yeah, that's the plan.
Fantastic. I actually wrote on a post-it note that I'm going to throw away the other day. Maybe I should write a book about somebody who's a police dog trainer. So I'm going to throw that away and come up with something else.
I'm doing that. It's in progress. It's happening.
So is that going to be kind of around 100,000 words as well, or are we going a bit shorter again with this one?
Should be a bit shorter, so it should be the same sort of length as as all the Butler and West.
Butler and West.
Basically. Although the last Butler and West has sort of crept up, so that's sort of like 97,000 words. But there was quite a lot to sort of tie off, because I wanted to make sure the 5th book in the series like tied off all the loose ends, as well. It has its own like 2 separate crimes as well that sort of happen at the same time. So I wanted to make sure everything comes together and everything fits. So yeah.
Has it been difficult to let go of Butler and West?
Yes.
I feel a bit conflicted about asking you, like, I don't want it to be the last one.
Well, I have, so yeah, it is, so I always planned it as a 5-book series in terms of their arc and what happens to them. And so when my editor said, so are we going to do Butler and West 6? I was like, no, we're going to do something else. But I have in my head an idea for like a standalone of like, because I think, I don't want to do too many stories, but anyway, as a standalone.
Yeah, don't tell us something you don't want to say.
No, yeah, I don't want to say it. As a standalone Butler and West. So that's sort of, but that's like 2 years away or something. So that's how I tell myself not to get upset about the fact that I don't get to play with Robin Butler anymore. Because I do love him. I've even taken him down from my wall, which is really sad.
Oh, you've taken him off the wall. Oh,
taken him off the wall. No, it's a sad day. Sad day.
I'm intrigued to kind of think about how book 3 is going to be a kind of a crossover of book 1 and 2 in the characters.
What, Sam Holland, but 1, 3? Yeah.
Because that's got to be, you've got so much to juggle there.
There is a lot to juggle. It's a real pain in the bum. yeah. It needs a lot to, so it's just, I mean, it's fine. It does work, but there's a lot to juggle.
Does it work because you have that, big wall at the side of you that you move things around on, and is that why it works? Do you think you could ever just sit down and write it without any thought to it?
No, I mean, I wrote, so I did NaNoWriMo, however we call it, in November, and I wrote just 50,000 words of just sort of word vomit, basically trying to get some of the bones of the story on the paper. And I was just sort of like picking scenes, and I kind of thought, well, that will be a scene. I like that. So I wrote it. So I wrote 50,000 words, and then I tried to make sense of what it should be happening. And like the midpoint was happening like 3/4 of the way through. It was all out of sync. So I had to do quite a bit of editing. So yeah, I normally write the first draft as a sort of just onto the page, but then I always reach a point, which I have with this one, where nothing makes sense anymore, because you can't get to the end where everything pulls together if you haven't laid the groundwork properly in the rest. So with this one, I had to go back to the beginning and like sort out the mess that I'd created, and now it's starting to go and starting to work. So yeah.
So you definitely find it better to kind of think it through beforehand, otherwise you just end up having to do twice as much work.
Yeah, I wish I was more planned, but yeah, it's at the moment it's not very.
What's really scary is you're not a planner and that's your wall. How?
Yeah.
Oh.
But this, you see this bit here is what it should look like, and then this bit is what it does look like at the moment because I've messed it up. So, in the end, it'll all be nice, lovely little post-it notes. But in the middle, it's all like a scrawl of just crap of me just going, bah, and then trying to make sense of it.
And how long have you been a full-time writer for now?
7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does it feel like 7 years?
Not really. I quit my job in November 2016, and then I've been writing full-time ever since. But like the first year was basically trying to get an agent, so my first book didn't come out until October 2018. Took like 2 years basically to get an agent, get a book, get it published. My son's.
Is it anything like you imagined it was going to be?
No, probably not. I don't know. I don't know what I imagined. I'd be sat alone in a room just like writing, which I do a lot, and I do like. I don't know. I didn't imagine I would. So we've got. Me and Heather have got a really good group of crime writing friends. And I didn't imagine that I thought it would be more solitary than it is, but actually meeting all these people and meeting all these brilliant, excellent crime writers has done nothing but improve the experience and improve my writing. So that's been, way above expectations. And then you get the crime festivals, and they're really fun because of the people you're with. And
yeah,
I know there's been a lot of talk of crime festivals this week, but generally, and as actually 100%, I've had nothing but positive experience at crime festivals. They're always really welcoming and really good fun. So
yeah, I'm fairly new to crime festivals. As you already know, I was going to go to Harrogate for the first time in 2020, took a year off work to write a book, and then it was 2020, so it didn't happen. So this year will be my first Harrogate.
Oh, excellent.
So I'm looking forward to that. Capital Crime last year, and me and Kaz did an event with Daniel McBreakneck in Wigan, and we got to interview authors, which was equally exciting and terrifying. I felt like I looked grey the whole day. I think it's quite a nerve-wracking thing to actually... People think, because I've done, several hundred interviews now, I think people expect me to not be as nervous as I am. Do you ever think... I think a bit of nerves is a good thing, but
yeah.
How do you find the in-person stuff, the online stuff?
I mean, it's a really odd job description, I think, being a writer, because you're expected to spend so much time by yourself.
Yeah.
Working by yourself, working things out, and being happy about that, and not getting lonely or anything like that. But on the other hand, then you have to publicize a book, so you have to talk about it, and you have to go up on stage and panels and be quite outgoing. So personally, I like the two sides of it, because I do like being by myself and walking the dog and having nothing on in a day except sitting and typing. But then I really enjoy the public facing side of it. And I did like loads of public speaking. I entered competitions. My parents entered me in competitions when I was younger.
So you've had a lot of practice.
So it doesn't worry me. Saying that, I was on a panel for Harrogate last year, and that was terrifying. Just because it was Harrogate, and I was like, right, I cannot fuck this up. And it was talking about the ethics of true crime, and like the Echo Man is just like breaks every rule of the ethics of true crime. So I was just like, just have to face into it and say, look, it is what it is. I'm sorry.
It is a tricky one. It's something me and Heather talked about as well, because you want to handle it really well if you're dealing with something that's true crime. But fictional true crime, which isn't actually true crime, it's fictionalized, you can play about with that more. You've got more freedom with it. You don't have to be quite as reserved with it, and you don't really have to... So the main character in Heather's book, he's
Cal.
Yep, Cal. He's handles it really well, and he's a really nice person. He's a really good man, treats everybody with respect and dignity, and he's really lovely. And you would hope that that would be how all true crime people would handle the families. Not quite the case, but you can get away with so much more in fiction than you probably can as a real person going out and doing this.
Except the Echo Man, I was dealing with true crime. So if you think about Manson, Dahmer, Bundy, like we talked about, so I used a lot of the true details about those cases in the fictionalized book. So I did all the research and made sure that it is basically as it happened in the book, or at least what the biographies say. And I did use some of the victims' names. So whether I do that again, I don't know, but I did want it to be as close as possible, mainly for the reader experience, because I wanted someone to see like a little snippet of something, go, oh, that's Kemper, or oh, that's Manson, or Heidenreich, or whatever. I wanted people to be along with the ride with the detectives, recognizing the true crimes. But as for the ethics of that, it's probably not great.
So. I think just any kind of thing is going to be a tricky balance, because there must be things where any one of you could be writing something and not realize that it's really close to something that actually happened. I mean, you could literally be making something up and then have somebody say, you've used my story, when actually, no, I just made this up. I didn't think anyone was actually this twisted.
Yeah, well, I know that a lot of example, Nadine Natherson's cases, and I can't remember what, but I remember the Jigsaw Man is based on a real killer that did do that to the bodies. I mean,
Ooh,
she'd be able to tell you exactly what. So yeah, it is a bit close in some cases, but to my knowledge, nobody's ever done what the Echo Man did, and nobody's ever done what in the 20. I think they'd be caught a lot quicker.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing with technology now, isn't it? Things have moved on so much. So even looking back at, you know, the earlier killings in the 20, and then looking at today, you know, if it was set in present day, then there's got to be so many differences because everything has changed so much in 20 years.
Oh yeah, so the ones in so the early kills is kind of centralized around the one character. So they go into that a bit.
That's
detailed.
why you saw me talk very little.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting because if you look about the history of serial killers, we didn't have many serial killers in the UK or full stop until sort of like the 60s and 70s and 80s. And if you look at those times, there was a huge boom of serial killers, especially the 80s. And one of the theories that why that is because the money invested in the welfare state at that point started dropping. So the more vulnerable people in society, such as the homeless, prostitutes, sex workers, the elderly, children, suddenly were very much more vulnerable and could be preyed on by people that then killed. And then one of the theories why those rates are now dropping is because we have things like forensics, DNA, Holmes, which is used as a big database that's used by the police, and policing methods are so much more sophisticated than in, say, when Sutcliffe was investigated and they had like great rooms full of index cards that like bowed the floor because they were so heavy. So and that's why we catch them so much quicker nowadays. They don't get a chance to become serial killers before we catch them. But anyway, I'm being really boring.
No, it's really not. It's really interesting because the other thing kind of, I'm at the age where I was just coming out of my teenage years as there were mobile phones everywhere with cameras.
Yeah.
So I've got a completely, you know, different history to my children. Everything everything that our kids do is there's a camera somewhere. Nobody can really get away with anything, which is a good thing.
It's done by, you know, surveillance, by mobile phones, by Ring doorbells, dash cams.
Yeah.
Like they get so much footage now from just, you know, every bus has a CCTV camera on it. So they get so much data. The challenge now is working through that data and trying to find out what you need to know. But yeah,
I suppose in a way it's almost harder because there's so much. It's not like one corner shop has a camera, you know, everyone's got cameras, as you're saying, and as we've seen in the book, there's so much to sift through.
Yeah,
that there's one scene in the book where somebody's given CCTV and they're like, this is going to take forever, and just get on with it, tough.
Yeah, they have to go through. Yeah, because every city in England is covered in CCTV cameras, but you've got to find that one shot and it be good enough for you to identify that person. And same with fingerprints. Like I was just writing a scene where they go into a house and it's just full of fingerprints and it's full of blood and it's full of everything that they're just like, well, we can't test everything. You need to tell me. And the detectives are, I don't know. Yeah, Laura's just saying about Sutcliffe. Yeah, the Sutcliffe is absolutely horrific. Like he was interviewed, I think, 9 times before they actually arrested him. It was just ridiculous.
I'll just read out Laura's full comment for anyone who's
I'm going to let the dog out.
Yeah, you let the dog out and I'll read this out. Sutcliffe was interviewed a few times, read a book by Chris Clark and Tim Tate all about the missed opportunities and murders he might have been responsible for. It was shocking. And that's the other thing, because when people are researching for true crime things, you've got so many people giving stories to the press. No, it's fine. We're just saying with true crime, you've got so many people giving stories to the press, and then people are using that as part of the research, and it might not be true. And it makes you wonder just how true the biographies are. You know, you need the ones with the people who are really who were there, who can actually share things that actually happened and not speculation. It's such a fine balance.
Yeah, it is interesting. I read quite a few biographies in the course of, you know, research for the Echo Man and the 20 even.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of difference between some of them. Some of them are excellent and like well researched, and they had access to actually talk to the people in prison, and some of them are not so much. But anyway.
Yeah, tricky one, a very tricky one. What about true crime and not true crime, but just kind of fictionalized crime on TV and films? Do you find that helpful, or are there so many things that they get wrong that are a really helpful plot device for TV, but actually shouldn't make it into a book because they're really wrong?
I'm trying to think. So in books, one of the things that irritates me is when authors get police procedure wrong. And I'm no expert. I have no background in policing, but I do know the basics. Like, with if you have a suspect, you have to caution them like straight away. No matter what you do, you have to bloody well caution them. And so many people just like don't, and it's one of my bugbears. And then guns in UK books are just so bizarre. Sometimes I'm reading one at the moment and they've whacked a gun in there, like the police has got a gun. It's like, you wouldn't have one. But anyway, but generally I think I like watching cop stuff on TV. I think it's it's sort of like research in inverted commas, but not really. It's just like fun, and you have to, I make things up and whatever, and just for the hell of, in my books, for example, like fingerprints come back in hours, like DNA profiles come back in like days, when in reality they take months, absolutely months. And all my investigations take place in about a fortnight, when they would take months and years. And
that's the thing. That's one of the parts of creative license, isn't it? Because you have to, because nobody's going to sit and read a year for one case where three pieces of DNA come in and all of that. It's not going to happen.
No, well, that's the thing. So I sort of do take a bit of creative license on the timescales that things take, and and the fact that they're generally only working on one case, or they're working on a massive murder case and there's only like 4 of them, when there'd be like huge teams. But you just do. Story.
The one thing I said I was going to ask and I warned you about was, what have you read recently?
Shit, and I didn't.
I warn everybody.
What have I read recently? That was good. So I've been reading a lot of Australian stuff that I've really enjoyed. So I really liked what have you got there? Oh, Exiles. Yeah, Exiles. I read Exiles. What's that? Is that a proof? Did you get a proof?
I got a proof. I interviewed Jane and they sent me a proof, and I love this book.
Yeah, no, I really love Jane Harper's stuff. My favorite is The Lost Man. I really love The Lost Man. But yeah, I like Aaron Falk, and I read Exiles recently. I love that.
Yeah,
there's an author called Gary Disher, who's also Australian, and he writes some really good stuff. So I think he's got one out in August, which I want to sort of
put that on my list as well.
I need to bribe Viper Books to give me a proof. Yeah, my friend's read it already. He says it's brilliant. So he writes Bitterwash Road is the first one, and that's really good. What else have I read? That's really good. Jordan Harper. I don't know. I started reading Jordan Harper recently, and he's also excellent. Absolutely brilliant. The Last something of Scotland. No, Last King of California. There we go. And
okay. I've heard of it. I've not read it.
Really good.
I was sent one the other day. Try and reach it without knocking everything else over.
Laura's.
Don't worry.
So Laura Hamilton said only Northern Irish police would be armed, and yeah, she's right. So in the UK we do have armed police, but they're a specialist unit, and which is the Armed Response Unit, whatever it's called, and they come out especially when they're needed. But normal,
rather than everyone being armed.
Yeah, no, normal police officers are not armed. Some of them have tasers. Like my friend, when he was on the ground as a policeman, he had a taser, but very, they wouldn't have guns. But anyway.
This one looks really good. The Unforgiven Dead by Fulton Ross I got the other day.
Ooh.
And I'm not going to read the blurb out because this is your interview, but it sounds amazing. And I'm interviewing him in a few weeks, so I'm looking forward to reading that when I get to it.
Good name. Do you think that name's made up, or do you think that's actually his name?
I haven't actually looked yet, but all I could think of was Fulton Mackay from Porridge.
Maybe it's not made up then. Maybe it is his name.
And Fulton Mackay was that's his real name, and it's what they used as the actor's character as well.
Which
maybe
I thought was brilliant. What was I going to say? Oh, I read Romantic Comedy as well by Curtis Sittenfeld. That was really good. I really enjoyed that. Finished that.
I've not read any romantic comedies in ages because
I
do. I absolutely do. I like mixing things up. I've just read for I won't say what, but I've just read for a prize, and there were quite a few of us as readers. It's all going to be announced shortly, and they said to me, "Don't talk about it because people will message you and ask you if you've read their excerpt yet." So this is the first time I've kind of said it publicly, and kind of realising now that I'm on camera and we're live. I'm allowed to talk about
it. I'm sure you're fine. I've been working on a book.
But it was really interesting because there were genres that I'd thought I probably wouldn't like, and they're so good. There were so many brilliant things that it's expanded my reading list massively. There's so many things that I would look at now.
I mean, I do tend to read more crime just because I have to read a lot for work. So if I'm going to like Crime Fest, for example, I have to read the books for Crime Fest. And then so I'm about to start Alex North's new one, Half Burnt House.
Okay.
So I need to read that for Lime Crime, which is a bit away. So I tend to read it just for work, but they're all excellent books. So it's not.
It helps, doesn't it, that the reading that we get is just so bloody brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't a hardship being sent free books to read. So it's work. I get to sit on the sofa and go, it's work. I'm working. So I'm trying to think what else I've read recently. But I've had to read a whole lot of books for research, which isn't quite so worth talking about.
No, I do love what we get to do, and where is it there? The Lost Dance by Mark Billingham. I got sent that a few weeks ago. I'll finally get to read it in the next few days. I'll finally get to start it because I've caught, where my reading list is. And then I'm a complete fangirl, and I get so excited talking to you all. So just kind of, I don't even care if I make a fool of myself anymore. He sent me a video for the promo, and my name is in it, and I was like, okay, yay, that's exciting. I just get giddy talking to every single one of you. I just think I have the best kind of hobby ever.
Yeah, really fun. When I met Chris Whitaker, I was a bit of a fangirl, and I think I probably embarrassed myself. Oh, and I met Joseph Knox at Harrogate last year, and that was okay. Definitely. He says I wasn't embarrassing, but I'm pretty sure I was. I was like, hello.
I have no doubt that I constantly show myself up. Like meeting you and running towards you across the field going, hello, can't think what your name is. Love the book. And just being kind of completely confused. I just think
the name thing's weird. Like some people call me Sam, some people call me Lou, but it's fine. I don't mind. Either's fine.
I have accepted that I call you different things on different days.
It's fine.
It's whichever one I'm talking to you as. And
it's a name that I like, so know, fine.
It is fun. Laura's saying she started The Last Dance on Pigeonhole, interesting new characters. I'm not really familiar with Pigeonhole. I've heard of it, but I've not used it.
I've heard of it. a place where authors shouldn't go, I think, is what I've heard.
Oh, okay.
Then they talk about your book live.
Oh, it's that. What? Okay.
Don't they?
Something
like that. I don't know. It sounds like somewhere that you're, it's a little bit scary.
Donna said she got confused for you at Crime Fest.
Oh,
so who did you go to Crime Fest as Sam?
I went to Crime Fest as Sam, but I had a name tag that said Sam Holland, aka Louisa Scarl, written on it.
Right.
So,
okay.
And I did all the panels as Sam Holland, but then you see, I just talk about it all now. It's just like it was too hard in that first year when I was Sam Holland and not talking about it.
You weren't allowed to be discuss it, yeah. But you have now got to the point where you think, it is what it is.
Yeah, hundreds of books. Let's talk about them all.
You might as well talk about them all. I can't believe an hour's nearly gone.
That's it.
We've got 5 minutes left.
Sorry, we've been talking about all sorts of crap.
I'm not even sure what we've talked about for the last hour, but this is what we do.
Oh, no, you, Sam Browning. Other Sam. You.
No, from you, Brownlee Sam. Sorry, forgot. Okay. You got confused for me at Crime Fest. I wasn't at Crime Fest. No, you're going to have to explain yourself, Donna. And also, Donna, I know Donna did NaNoWriMo. Did you did you do the full 50,000 words, Donna? I'm intrigued. I remember starting it once and I really didn't write that much. I really just kind of got distracted and didn't carry on with it.
Yeah, I've never completed it before, but this time I was like, right, because I needed to write the book anyway, so it was sort of like, right, let's just do 50,000 words, and it was a good sort of focus actually, and I had nothing else on in November, so I just sort of like went for it. I think it's quite good practice if you haven't got anything. I didn't have any edits coming in, I didn't have any proofreading, because that just derails you. It just comes on and that's it. You've got to drop everything and do the next one. I'm slightly worried because this one is submitted around the same time as Sam Holland 3 is submitted, and I'm a little worried they're going to both like come in at the same time, and I'm going to have two sets of edits, but it'll be fine.
So Donna's saying someone was asking if she was still involved with UKCBC, even though she was doing her own events, and asking about Kaz, and she just agreed in the end. So because the three of us have all been doing interviews for a long time, we all get called each other's names.
Okay.
I think that's what she means. Have I caught up, Donna? Have I finally cottoned on? And I actually I can guess who she's talking about, because there is one person who we're interchangeable. So I won't ask her online, because if it's not the right person, I don't want to embarrass them. And if it is the right person, I don't want to embarrass them, because it's really hard, isn't it? There's so many people who talk to you about books, and I'm terrible with names anyway, as we've said. Don't know any actor and actress names, can't put names and faces together, get really confused. Oh no, I'm glad people make you wear name tags at things.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they were big name tags as well, and they were like, right, because sometimes they're on your boob, and you don't want to stare at people's like boob. But this time they were good, solid name tags, and I was like, no, it's good.
Donna said she's got bright pink hair, so actually she's really, yeah.
But I didn't say hello because I was sort of running.
And she didn't keep up the 50,000 word discipline. 50,000 words in a month, though, it's just occurred to me.
Yeah, it's not that much, really. Well, I don't think it's that much.
You don't think it's that much? Tell us how much you actually write. I know we're going to run out of time, but I feel the need to get this question in.
When I'm writing, I write about 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. And then sometimes I have long days and I can probably get in about 4,000. So like, if you think a month is 20 working days in theory, so that's only like 2.5.
Excuse me.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 every working day or something like that, which is more than doable for a full-time writer, which I am. So
yeah, when I used to write blogs, I used to write more than that. Why do I think this is such a difficult?
It takes me about an hour to write 1,000 words, basically. That's sort of my rule of thumb. If I'm not distracted by Twitter and my emails and WhatsApp, I can write 1,000 words an hour. But all those things distract me and get me like not working. My son is still up. I'm glad that I made my husband stay home because he's still up.
Is he really? I wrote something down, and because it's a little bit longer, I kept it with me. I've quoted, "No detective likes to miss out on the juicy cases, and all of them know this could be one of those," which is a line from the book.
Yeah.
For anyone who hasn't kind of twigged that's what I'm doing. And do you think there must come a point where that isn't the case anymore? Or do you think maybe it's revitalizing when you really get stuck into something? You think you're fed up, you think you've had the last moment where you've just had enough, this job's too much, it's awful, it's seeing the worst in humanity. You see wonderful things as well, don't get me wrong, but it must be very, very hard.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've got a friend that's a cop, and he's been a cop for 25 years maybe, and I think he's sort of tired. I don't think you see a lot of the positive side of people just because of the nature of being pulled out all the time to shit, basically. And I do put a bit of that in with Cara in the beginning of book 3, because she's basically, she's at the beginning of the Echo Man, she's sort of, quite strong, quite determined, but then the case sort of ruins her, basically. And by the beginning of book 3, well, all through the time of book 2, she's basically not doing much at work. She's sort of doing half a job. And then in book 3, she's back to normal, but she's not really into it. I think she's just sort of like worn down by life, basically, and by her job, and that sort of continues for poor old Cara. So, yeah.
You've been mean to Cara in book 3.
No, well, I mean to Griffin as well. I mean to everybody. Poor old Griffin. Poor old Adam. He has a horrible time.
I know. But again, let's end on a high note. You do give them all really nice moments as well.
Yeah.
You know, when cases in all of the books, so I'm not generalizing any one of them and giving anything away, but you do give people really nice moments, nice friendships, nice memorable things, really happy times in their lives. I know you pull the rug out eventually, but you know, it's not all bad. There is joy as well.
They do have sex quite a lot as well, so there's
They
quite
do
a lot.
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note,
lots of shagging.
On that note, thank you very much.
Let me find the book again. Wait a minute, where's it gone? Here it is. Buried.
Show it off again.
Looks like that. It's available in hardback and ebook at the moment. It will come out in paperback later in the year.
Yeah, in October apparently.
Well, apparently, but I think they've just whacked that on because they needed a date. I'm not sure it will actually come out in October because they certainly haven't confirmed anything to me.
You understand why I'm giggling at that, but nobody else will. I pre-ordered the wrong one.
I think a couple of people have, but then and the last Butler and West is out on the 6th of July as well, and that's lots of fun. So I have to get a quick plug in for that one.
No, you absolutely do, yeah.
I love Robin Butler and Freya, and
I don't think I can talk to you anymore now.
What?
5 and that's it.
Yeah, but they'll come back. They'll come back.
Every once in a while, I'm just going to email you and say, "Tell me what Robin and Freya are doing."
Yeah, well, exactly. It's yeah, but yeah, I always knew it would end with 5, and it ended.
Yeah, you have said that all along, and I kept hoping that you were lying to me.
Yeah, but I like a new. I think it's good to rejuvenate a new series, and I have plans for a standalone. Not that Canelo know that yet, but they will do at some point.
We'll do now.
I'll beg them, please let me write a standalone Butler and West. Now go now.
We're getting thank yous from people who are watching.
Yeah, Sam's going to be at Harrogate.
Yeah, Donna's going to be at Harrogate, and she's going to see me in just over it. Oh yeah, we've got oh yeah, thanks Donna. UK Crime Book Club are having a live event in June. There's a handful of tickets left, and if anybody wants to come, go to ukcrimebookclub.com and you can see who's appearing. There have been some changes to the lineup, so go and have a look. But the last word should be you, so show the cover off again. I love this cover.
Wait a minute. But who's this little dude? Wait a minute. Who's this dude? Who is he? Is that Adam? Is that the killer? Who knows? Jack Reacher. I shouldn't be rude. No, it's a great cover.
It is a great cover. It really is. And thank you for the nightmares.
Yeah. Thank you so much for reading it. Thank you for another great
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. And I will ask you to come back to discuss Robin and Freya book 5.
Yeah.
Butler and West.
Anytime, I'm happy to come back. Just let me know.
I know, but I kind of if we have to talk about it, then it's really over.
It's over. You might make me cry.
Oh, maybe. And I look forward to seeing you in Harrogate. So thank you very much for joining us, spending your Friday night with us.
That's all right. I'm going to go and try and get my child to go to bed.
And thank you to everyone who's joined in, and for Donna for just taking the mickey out of us for an hour. It's great fun.
Thank you.